Before we go on about the light bar, Brad, before we go on about the light bar, because there's something really seriously concerning me. Before it was sent out, you were saying you had problems with the light bar and everything, and the capacitor was blowing one thing and another. You also said that you said that there was you managed to save some money on the actual changing over to these PG drives or whatever, and the money we paid, you can do the light bar with it as a prototype. Liz has turned around and said now you want nearly $2,000.
Don't worry about Liz. That was bad communication on her and my part. Jeez.
Thank you, because I've been so worried.
I don't know how to put this politely, other than my wife is getting sicker and sicker, and she's taking a lot of medications. That's why I pretty much fired her. Now, I've got bad news for you.
What's the bad news?
This is the new motor.
They look bigger.
This thing up in?
Yeah.
That thing is huge. On your chassis, this fin, it won't fit into your chassis.
Right.
So this new 2-power motor will not fit on the old ones. We had to redesign our chassis. So that's one of the bad news. The other bad news is this big-ass shaft. Is we've had to increase the size of them because of the torque. We ran into a problem for a couple of months where our motors were actually blowing the shafts up and snapping them.
Oh.
So the transmissions are all redone with a different shaft. So that would be not only, it wouldn't fit on your chair, but your hubs and everything would not fit on your particular chair. So I'm trying to figure out a way to do this. And this fin, that voltage fullback, this was added on because the amount of heat we're getting. This cools down the motor much, much faster, makes it a lot more efficient.
Right.
But like I said, because of the diameter, I mean, you can see how much thicker it is compared, and we just don't have the space.
Yeah.
That matches in there.
They look a lump.
And they weigh another 10 pounds apiece. They're heavy bastards. So, with these motors on your chairs, basically the hub's got to get redone. The hub's got to get redone, and we have to, the only thing I can think of doing is cutting holes in your frame that this would slide in. But as I've never done this, I don't know if the space of there would still be enough because the batteries in there are really tight, and I don't know if the fins would bash into the batteries.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm just trying to think how tight the batteries are there. There's probably a finger's width there.
Well, they are. Hey, run out there and pick me up. I'll take my wrist, please. Hold on, let me give you some exact measurements right now. You can double check. Okay, the cans, the actual black part of your motor is 4.5 inches.
Yeah.
From the edge of the can to the face of the chassis is 5 inches. Excuse me, 4 3/4. So there's a 1/4 inch. The width of these cans, from fin to fin, which is pretty much all you care about. Oh shit, there's 6 inches. That's 1.5 inches. So basically,
that ain't gonna go, is it?
Cutting through the metal, a 1/4 inch. There's no inch on the inside of your chassis.
No.
That's a full inch you would need before you hit the batteries. have group 27 batteries in there. The only other option would be to go down to a group 24 battery, which is smaller. And
So what part of the chassis would need, without cutting it,
I'm sorry?
if we weren't to cut it, what would be the other option? A whole new chassis?
Yeah. Otherwise, we're cutting the holes in your chassis just to fit those fins in there, and then we're going to have to drop the battery size.
Can the
It's
fin...
like sticking a V8 and a V6, you know?
Can the fins not be cut?
Well,
Because you're not cutting all the fins, it's just one, isn't it?
now it's just... Sorry. Crap. Hold on a sec. It would be this entire section right here, because it goes, as the motor would sit like this, it would be from this hub to this hub. And that would have to, oh, man, I'm looking at the terminals too. It sucks.
By the chassis, do you mean the where the batteries sit, or the actual chassis of the where the tracks sit?
No, you would have to cut a hole where the battery sits, and then the hole would have to go inside. I'm not worried about the other end because there's plenty of room inside the track housing. This is where it meets the metal that holds the batteries.
Right.
That's where you'd have to cut the metal around it so it could get in there, move a little bit, but then you have the batteries. I got an old chassis. I have Betty's chassis. I had to tear that thing down and try this on there. See if I can get this going. Yeah, when I went to a full horsepower on this, I had to do this. Just the amount of horsepower to move, and I'm getting a lot more people that are your size that want these chairs, so I had to go to a bigger one. And they work wonderful. It's just on an old chassis.
It's difficult.
No good. We have to redesign our chassis.
So the tracks and everything else will be the same, apart from the hubs. So it's literally...
Yeah, well, the hubs would definitely be different because they said this is a lot thicker shaft. So we had to open up the shaft, but at the same time beef up the hubs because this is a lot more torque going here. And like I said, it was actually...
snapping them off.
It was blowing the shafts off. I mean, splitting right coming out. There was that much torque on there, so we had to beef it up. We had 3 chairs fail with the new ones, and we had to send them back in and redo them. All with the new transmissions because they said it was just too much power for it. Let me get some brains in here. Hey, Dustin! What's your brains? Got my numbers guy is Dustin. He's the smart guy who does all the numbers.
Oh, right. How many have you got working for you over there then?
He's brother in here too. I'll make a... This is a numbers deal. You ever met Christy?
Christy?
Yeah.
I've never met her.
But that's Christy right there.
Hello, Christy.
Okay. The numbers and wise, what we could obviously, we got to put the new motor. It would be ideal to put these new motors on his chassis because of his weight. What would it cost? Now he's got the old tracks. We don't even have the original tracks anymore. So what would cost-wise do you think it would be to put an entire chassis together with his tracks? I mean, is that a total rebuild? Or can we get his back here, cut holes in it, and modify it for him? Or is that something that... Problem is, nobody over there in the UK knows how to do this. I mean, what we do. They're thinking, we're all scratching fingers in the head right now.
Yeah, it's very expected.
Because he has the old tracks, so you have to have the new with the old tracks, with the new hubs, I mean, it'd basically like Betty Jean's chair, except it'd be a lot more expensive. Yeah, it's like his chassis wouldn't even be worth it, right? To sit there and cut holes in it and put smaller batteries in it. It wouldn't be a good idea. I didn't. Yeah. So he would need an entire new chassis.
See, with the laws now, Brad, the width doesn't matter.
Hold on a second. What's that?
The width doesn't matter now because the laws. Was 21 centimeters outside the width to be classed as a wheelchair. So width is not a problem now, where it was before.
What do you think?
We could use the hubs, the tracks.
Hubs and the tracks, yes, but the chassis would definitely have to be redone.
So
What about?
yeah, that's really the chassis and hubs.
Brad?
So, what's that?
Could you not put almost a block so it stands out a couple of inches on the actual battery compartment to give us that extra room?
Well, then you're dealing with motor shims. And then where it attaches, it's pretty precision. Where it attaches from your motor shims, you just can't shut the tracks out because you got the bolts holding that on there with the 3 points that hooks to the frame. It's not just, no, you can't do that.
Right, just a thought. I haven't actually stripped it.
The actual housing that holds the transmission is an integral part of the strength. So moving that, I don't know how it would react because you're shifting a lot of weight and a lot of power. Huh? So we would need his chair back. Is it something that we could, like, rebuild here and then, no, because he has different tracks, which we don't even use anymore. Okay. They should build him a whole new chair.
A whole new chair.
Not a whole new chair.
Just the chairs. The tracks, the motors, the transmissions. We'll take all his modules, seats, and we'll do a new chassis. And then take his old chassis.
And just repart everything that's on there.
No matter what, you have to tear that chair completely down.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. So it looks like we would have to have your chair back here. Yeah, we would have to do a total tear down. We could reuse all of your components, but the actual metalwork, the chassis and the power plant, we would need because we're going to have to redo all that.
Well, rather than send the chair all the way over, what about sending the chassis over here and we transfer all the bits over? Is the only other thing.
The only problem I have with that is we're the experts, and I know this is not. This was the first one we're going to do like this. You have a different set of tracks than what we use now.
Yeah. So if
That's where we're kind of shooting blind, going off old charts. We don't even have any of those existing tracks anymore, so we'd have to go off. I mean, everything works great on the computer, but until it's actually sitting here in front of our hands, and we're leaving a lot to chance at 12,000 miles away.
It's just the cost of the shipment and that.
It's really expensive to be shipping chassis back and forth saying this doesn't work. Just get it all done, and basically you'd end up with an entire new chair.
It's a difficult one because you're obviously the businessman.
Huh?
I said it's a difficult one. But you're the businessman.
Yeah.
I just want to get it sorted so I can use it, obviously.
Okay. Huh? You know how much it costs to send that chair over?
I haven't got
You
it.
remember?
What, when you sent it to us?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Do you remember how much that was?
I've got the email. Give us a minute.
So he's looking up what the shipping was. But if I remember right, you had that shipped over via airplane during the Christmas season, so that's going to be kind of up there anyway in the cost anyway. That will go down.
Oh, right. It'll have to be put in a shipping container and everything else as well, won't it?
That's right. It came over in that big box, huh?
Yeah. We'll have to knock one up because we don't have one. I don't have that.
Nah, we don't. Shipping out of that country is a lot different than shipping into it. We have a sense over here. It's not, we have a census number, so we don't have the same problems moving my chairs around in this country as they do over there.
Right. It's alright, just bear with me because I'm just going through all the invoices at the moment.
Yeah, you know, might end up being the best thing, Jim. If it gets back here, then I could go through the entire joystick modules and put the light bars on and everything, and we can just do it all right. So by the time you get it back, there's going to be no guesswork, because by the time it leaves the shop, I know everything will work.
Well, you could do the programming and everything else as well.
Yeah, and I'm not real. Like I said, I mean, it's the sucky part about it, but I guess that being that far away, it's.
Jim, are you on about the ups?
I can't believe that in the UK that everybody's not using PG drives. That stuff is just the best stuff in the world.
I'm not saying they're not using PG drives. What I'm saying is that they, I don't know, I haven't looked around and asked if anyone's local.
Jim, is it about...
I can't believe Pride's a terrible chair. I can't believe the Curtis controllers are horrible. That's why I didn't use them, is they've got so many problems on them. And the PG drives are all plug and play, and they're so simple, and they're usually pretty damn durable. This is the first time I've heard of a JSM code coming up on these. There's got to be just a communication issue.
Jim?
Yeah.
What are you after?
Right, the price it was for them to send it to us. Sorry, my wife's just looking through the paperwork we have as well.
UPS?
It was UPS, yeah.
Air Freight Services?
It was air freight right.
Figure.
Total prepaid was $1,105.74.
That's cheap.
And that was
I'm paying like $3,000.
You used UPS.
Okay, you know what? The shipper is the same guy down by Sky Harbor Airport, the one that boxed it up. He would have that information, and then so he could basically do a reroute. So contact him and find out how much it would be basically to get that chair back here. And I don't really care about the boxing of it because we're going to rebuild it anyway. But
there's the paperwork.
Backwards. I know that we still use the guy that used the shipping. I'll have the record sent over. We'll figure this out. Oh, do you have an invoice number on that?
On this invoice, if there's a HAWB number, a consignment account number,
Do you have a... Shit. Alright, yeah, we'll find that out. We have that information, and we'll get a bid on the reverse and send it back. We'll find the guy that did it. He can set it all up. I know we still use the same guy, so he can find it out. And that's probably what we'll end up doing. Figuring this out and get that down there. It's just going to have to be a rebuild, buddy. I'm seeing UH setting it up for failure. Excuse me, going off another way. Bringing over piece by piece, and if it doesn't match up, then it's not going to work right.
Well, whatever
Bring
you
it back.
Whatever you
Turn
think.
this thing around. We have all the parts, so if we get the chair here, we could turn that thing around within 2 weeks and move it out. As they just said, the only thing that would take the longest is they have to send it over to the metal shop, and then we'd have to basically rebuild the chassis for the old tracks with the new motors, and that would be taking the longest. After that, it would just be powder coat and putting it back together.
Well, whatever you think. All I know is, as you know, it's not turning, and that at least you'll see the problems with it as well, I suppose.
Okay, I will give you a call, or Christy will contact you, and we will go over options on Monday.
Right, okay then. Alright, I'll leave it with you. Thanks for putting my mind at ease.
I really think that's the way we're going to do is putting these new motors on, is actually doing a rebuild of the chassis, and then just transferring everything you got on your chair, and so that way we can hook up the lights, and by the time it leaves the shop, I know it'll pass every law and every test down there when I see it. And I'll make sure that the brake lights kick on when, like when you let go of the joystick, it'll act like a brake light, and the brake lights will be on in the back, so you don't have to worry about any extra controls, and I'll make sure it's totally automated.
Right, can I ask one more thing? If you're doing the chassis again, can you put a indent a chassis number, engrave a chassis number on the actual chassis before you get it powder coated?
Engrave a number?
Yeah, a VIN number, vehicle identification number.
Oh, we use our clients as I wish we'd have big enough that we needed VIN numbers. We just use our clients as our client number.
Yeah, but
I could put your own personal one on.
yeah, well, if not, I'll just do what I did here, because we got a pen where as you press it, it puts a little hammer, but it's it disturbs all the paint and that, obviously.
Oh, they need a VIN number for motor vehicle, huh?
Yeah, because
Okay, I got it.
what it is.
No, actually, what we do is we set up is we could actually make instead of hammering in, we can make a nice little plate that it's all on there with the number, and rivet it in so it looks nice and everything.
Do you want the number which needs to go on there? Because they've given me a number.
I'll probably lose it, so that would be when I get it on there, then we could just send the information over, we'll press it on.
Right, thank you. It's just that is the only thing the chair was missing, but they've given me a number they want on it, so.
Okay, no, actually, that's good to know. I can relay that onto this other chair going. The UK, you guys got some weird laws, man.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got some stuff to do. Christy's been writing this down, and we're going to get this information, and I'll contact you Monday with a hell of a lot more information.
All right. Thanks very much, Brad. Thanks for putting my mind at ease as well.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
Talk to you later.